Why do people look at Michel Paeta and think that all he does is capoeira and fancy strikes and just karate point style people? Like, where do people get that from?
I think they just saw the highlights of when he came out, Derek, and when he was still kind of green in MMA and really making a splash in the UFC. Because if you watch his fights now, homeboy is pretty damn structured, bro. He's staying cool, calm, and collected in there, and you've seen it happen fight and fight and fight back to back to back. So going forward, I can see the correlation between a Steven Thompson and a Paeta, but only because Paeta has now grown into a more technical fighter. And really the chaos that he once was, the explosion, the flying knees, the spinning kicks, the somersault kicks, all of that has really gone by the wayside. But to be honest, Derek, I don't know if he should really dump all his tricks while he's getting on the bus. I think he should keep a couple there because that's how you're going to surprise Steven Thompson going forward. Do you think Steven Thompson has seen anything, or has this dude seen everything and all to be able to not get caught by one of those sneaky little capoeira kicks, Derek?
If we're talking striking, Stephen Thompson has a ridiculous, miraculous record. So on the feet, yeah, you've seen everything. But in MMA, you've still pretty much seen everything. That doesn't stop you from losing a fight, though, man. And that's what we're saying. If you look at strategy, there's a very clear-cut strategy of defeating Wonderboy. Put him on his butt. Don't let him do all that fancy karate stuff, because when Kevin Holland decided, I'm just going to kickbox with you, even a fantastic striker like Kevin Holland, he was getting pieced up, bro, because Thompson is still that guy. So what gives you any indication that Michel Paeta, who's been very wrestling heavy in his past fights, why is he going to sit and just stand and trade? That's the part that I'm not understanding here. That's why I see so much value in a plus 285 decision prop for Paeta, because if he does the right thing, stays at range, gets well-timed takedowns, controls the fight, ends up with a little more damage, a little ground and pound, you win the fight. It's very simple. Why not take the Gilbert Burns approach? Why not take the Bilal Muhammad approach?
You're right, Derek. All those little approaches or all the L's that Stephen Thompson has suffered has been from heavy wrestlers, but all the dubs that Paeta has really had going forward, or his last four at least, those fighters have been more wrestling inclined, willing to participate again. I think Stephen Thompson has really hit a point in his career where he's realized the old dog needs a new trick, and that trick is get away from me. I don't want to be taken down. Instead of, like we've seen, he was exposed by the Gilbert Burnses, like the Bully Bees, like all the great wrestlers that are in those divisions, or in that division, excuse me. Stephen Thompson, if he wants any kind of path forward or gold or anything, because this guy's not really so much of a fashion fighter or the entertainment fighter. This guy really is still on a path, it seems like. If he's on that path going forward, he's going to need to develop those skills to stay away or at least get up. I'm not sure, at least with what we've seen. Yes, Paeta has been able to have better wrestling and get more tied down and more focused in on a single approach. But I don't think he's going to be able to hold down Stephen or even get his hands on Stephen Thompson with the movement. Now, I could be wrong, and this could be one of those ones where Paeta really is cutting down the corners, cutting his opponent off and mitigating his movement. Mm-hmm. But at least of what I've seen lately, Derek, Paeta still, he keeps the pressure, but he just follows his opponents round and round and tries to get a hold of him that way with the explosion. I think Stephen Thompson's going to be one step ahead of him. I'm sure you see the opposite.
I don't quite see it the opposite. I just think it's easier said than done to just stay away from your opponent for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? And for Michel Paeta, yeah, that's my path to victory for Stephen Thompson. If you could pick apart at Paeta and then avoid all takedown attempts, shut down the takedown attempts by sneaky little things up the middle, like, yeah, absolutely. But I do imagine at one point there will be a car crash because Stephen Thompson is blitz in style, Michel Paeta is blitz in style. You're going to meet in the middle at some point. And if you can get your hands on him and you can control, Paeta, I do think, has a size and a strength advantage here. Now, of course, he's bigger and he's taller, right? So I think Paeta can definitely wear him down that way. Here's the big key to victory right here, cardio, right? This is at elevation. Stephen Thompson, we know, doesn't get tired. Michel Paeta, on the other hand. That's my number one point of concern. Can you even keep up a grappling heavy approach with Thompson, especially if he's really trying to get back up to his feet? Easier said than done. But I'm going to push back real quick. You said Paeta fought a bunch of wrestling inclined fighters. He fought a bunch of strikers, bro. Nico Price, Chaos Williams, Andre Fialho, Santiago Ponzinibbio. These are all strikers right here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really agree with him fighting wrestlers who are trying to wrestle him. And honestly, aside from the Tristan Connolly loss, my man should be like on a 10-fight win streak. He need Diego Sanchez in the head and lost. And Diego was like, if I quit, if I can't continue, does that mean I win? Paeta won the fight. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the boy Sanchez. But what do you think?
No, I agree with you, Derek. And I did say wrestlers, but I meant more of a pressure-oriented, going forward style. The Nico Price, the Fiallo, the Chaos Williams, the Ponzinibbio. All of those fighters are more pressure-oriented, so they're going to be falling into that wrestling trap and really being allowed to take control of. I don't see Stephen Thompson doing that. I see him working the in and out, working the angles, working the movement and the footwork game that goes along that's going to be able to mitigate Paeta going forward. Now, you said something earlier, Derek, car crash. I do think that car crash is going to happen quite a bit because of the styles that are happening right here. We've seen Stephen Thompson, whether it's the right or the left, when he steps in, he has a big straight down the pipe. Does Paeta have anything that can kind of counter that exact movement, or does he have his own little car crash? What do you think is going to be the biggest outcome of those? Because I think that's going to be a turning point in the fight, Derek. How does Paeta really take advantage of that blitzing style that Thompson has?
I'm just going to say this, man. For those who are uninitiated, who have never watched Michele Pereira, have not watched his fights outside of the UFC, he's known for explosion. I'm not concerned in a car crash. In a car crash, he has knees, elbows, big winging hooks, big shots. Listen, man, this is how I'm going to end this segment right here because I believe in Stephen Thompson. I think he's very good when he gets to fight his fight. When you take that fight away from him, that's when the wild cards pop up. And I think that this fight is going to come down to being as simple as this. Stephen Thompson, 40 years old, brother. These guys are getting sent out to pasture by the young bucks. Now, Michele Pereira is 29 years old. Let's not forget, my man is not an old man. You feel me? So I just really think momentum, lots of wins on the Paeta side. He seems to just know how to squeak in a victory. And if we're looking at his last 5 wins, 4 of them have come by decision, 1 of them by finish. My man knows how to win a fight. And then for Stephen Thompson, man, you got to have a Kevin Holland-esque performance. You got to have one of those highlight performances like he did against Jeff Neal or Vicente Luque. But if you look at the wins, there's much more losses than there are wins in his last 10. Tyron Woodley, we'll discount that one. Darren Till, Anthony Pettis, those are ones you wish he could have got back. Those are 2 straight-up strikers. And you got a jiu-jitsu guy in Pettis. And then the only wins, Holland, Neal, Luque, and Jorge Masvidal, which you can't discount because they're all big names. But we'll end this segment by saying this, man. Just because the guy was the thing, similar to the guy we're going to talk about next fight, for many, many years, at a certain point, it just always falls off. And in handicapping, in my opinion, you want to beat the curve before the immediate fall off. So I'm going to beat the curve. I'm going to go with the underdog play. Give me Michele Pereira and give me a decision victory, my lock of the night for the prop. Plus 285, decision prop for Michele Pereira. How do you see it?
We say it all the time, Derek. It's like Caitlin Chukagian in Texas. Stephen Thompson by decision is one of the ones that I just always gravitate towards. Can that plus 325 TKO happen? I think it can, but I'm still locking it in. Stephen Thompson by decision. I think he's a smart man. I think he knows his grandfather clock is coming to an end. He needs a big win right here. We'll see if that fuels him as well. But like I said, Derek, I like the decision for Stephen Thompson.
And what I love is when we have conviction in these opposing picks, one of us is going to look dumb. And I just don't know who it is. I can't say it's not going to be me. I cannot say that. We'll see. But folks, if you're tailing my picks, let's ride, baby. Let's ride.